Hello, I want to welcome you back to Constituent Marking with Fred Long on Proof Text. I'm Fred Long, and we're looking at 1 Thessalonians 2:5. We're going through this text, and in the previous verse, Paul was talking about his ministry of proclaiming the Word of God, and that he's not seeking to please people, but to please God. And so in verse 5 here, we're going to get a further support for the fact of his integrity. And the words that he's using here are very interesting, and what he's denying that he did, and then also the kind of appeals that he makes to knowledge and to God actually being testimony, a witness. So let's start here. We have utagar pote en logo kalikias genethemen kathos idate uta en prophasi pleonexias theos martus. Okay, so right away I see a gar. I put a box around that. I see a te with an uta. Now this uta works with the following uta. And you're going to get, since there's two of them, if there's more than two, we may not be able to do this in English, but you're going to have like a neither and then a nor. So the gar is indicating substantiation for. This is providing support for neither at that time. So the pota, I'm putting a dotted box around. A dotted circle, which signifies an adverb. Uta is kind of a combined connector with a negative u, and the te is marking similarity. It's like adding parallel kinds of statements. In this case, that's the similarity. Then you come across a prepositional phrase in logo, and then that's followed by kolekias. So I start a parentheses, and then I'm going to close it after that genitive. Now the kolekias is a genitive singular, and it's after the as is a genitive singular ending. And the reason why it's alpha is because this is a noun, a feminine noun that ends in epsilon, iota, or rho. If the stem of a feminine noun ends with one of those three characters, letters, the singular forms use alphas rather than etas. And so that's just kind of a general rule. So this is indeed feminine genitive singular. It means it's a hapax legomenon, which means it's only spoken once, occurs one time. It has to do with flattery. Fawning, flatterer, using flattery. So what's interesting is this. I looked up this word in our lexicon, bedag, and it had a reference to Plato, and the Phaedrus defines what a flatterer is, and I could flip to that, but it's rather interesting. A flatterer basically is a beguiling kind of person that you don't, in a certain kind of way, they're pleasant, but they're bad for you. So Paul is just flat out saying, I wasn't just flattering you in speech. I didn't flatter you in speech. Now the main verb here is eyenethemen, which is a first plural. It's an aorist middle formed indicative. It means to become, or here kind of like come, from yenome. So we did not come at that time in a word of flattery, just as you know, kathos idete. Now this is a kathos, this is a subordinating clause, so I'm going to put it in brackets. It's really a meta comment. It's an appeal to their knowledge of how Paul and company were and came among them, like what they were like. And in chapter 2 here, and really extends a little bit in chapter 1, 2, and 3, there's this sense, a really strong sense that Paul is distancing himself from bad conduct. Now, there's a great article I've probably mentioned already by Bruce Winter that that studies this language that Paul is distancing himself from, and basically the basic idea is that Paul is not wanting to be considered some kind of traveling sophist preacher that makes money off of enamoring the crowds. He's like, I'm not doing that. Now the reason he has to he has to distance himself from this kind of popular phenomenon is because, in fact, he was only in Thessalonica 3 to 5 weeks. Like he was run out of town by the authorities, and so it did not look good. And so this is where, we have to consider the importance of our moral conduct and how we do come across, because it is a matter of the gospel, like representing God fairly and representing his word fairly. If we're going to be jerks and act in ways that look suspicious, people are going to be suspicious of the gospel. So Paul here is clarifying. This is a gar statement after all. He is substantiating, why he's acting with upright conduct. And he's appealing to their knowledge, as you know. Nor, so then we come to the other uta clause, nor did we come, this is another sentence that is ellipsis. Ellipsis is when you can resupply some element, and here the verb is being resupplied. So we just can assume that this verb is re-understood here. Nor did we come in the pretext or reason of greed, pleonexia. Once again, we have a prepositional phrase, emprophasi, followed by a genitive that is very similar to the genitive we had above. It ends in iota, so it has alpha endings. Pleonexia is like greed, and for the reason of greed. So nor did we come with a reason of greed. In other words, greed as the motivation. And then he has another meta comment, this time appealing to God. Theos martus, God is witness. So God is witness. This is a null copula construction, where the copula, the verb of being, is understood. And once again, it's a meta comment. It's a kind of meta comment that I would consider a situational meta comment to the communicative act. God is witness, meaning God is witness to the truth of what I'm saying here, what I'm denying about myself, what I'm saying that we're not doing. We didn't come in this way, nor did we come in another way. Yeah. So this is how I'd mark up this verse. This is some of the context for it. Paul is pushing hard for his character, denying how he made an entrance, how he was amongst them. He did not come with a word of flattery or fawning to look charming, nor in the pretext or excuse or reason of greed. And God is witness to that fact. All right. I hope you found that helpful and look forward to having you watch and listen next time. Take care.